How you doing? I'm Darren with Ash Kickin' Barbecue, and today we're talking smoked salmon. As you can see here, I have about 20 fillets of silver and king salmon. A buddy of mine caught in Alaska a couple months ago, and I told him I would smoke these up for him, so that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be smoking on the Pit Boss Pro Series 1600. We're going to be using applewood pellets from Cookinpellets, and I'm really excited to get this going. So here I have my brine for the salmon, and I prefer a wet brine over a dry brine, and it's just what I've done and what I've always done. And what I did was I bought 2 gallons of distilled water, and then I took 1 gallon, put it on the stove, and I added 3 packed cups of brown sugar and a cup of kosher salt. I heated that up until everything was incorporated, and then I got it back inside the gallon jug, got it in the fridge and got it cold. I had a little bit excess after adding the brown sugar and the salt, so I did put a little bit in here. That's why they're kind of off color. This just has a little bit of the brine in it. So this is like the concentrated solution for the brine. So all we're gonna do for this is we're just gonna go ahead and we're just gonna dump it in. And you wanna make sure you have enough brine to cover your salmon. And this is just gonna help incorporate some flavor and some moisture. And we're actually gonna go ahead and season this up tomorrow after it's come out of the brine. So we're just gonna go ahead and get this added. Then we're gonna add this one just to kind of dilute that concentrate and make sure we get the fish completely covered. All right, and we have the fish completely submerged in the brine. What I will do is go ahead and kind of mix these around and move them around, make sure that everything's incorporated and mixed in nicely. And this is gonna go in the fridge overnight. It's about 6 o'clock this evening, and I'll probably pull this out about 6 a.m. So at that point, we're gonna get it on a rack and we're just gonna let it dry and form what's called a pellicle, and it's like a stickiness to the exterior of the fish, which will allow the smoke to adhere to it. So at this point, this is just going in the fridge, and I'll pick back up tomorrow morning when we're taking this out of the brine. You guys are gonna really enjoy this cook, and if you haven't done smoked salmon, it's super easy, super delicious, and I think you're really gonna like this recipe. So we'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. All right, guys, it's the next morning. You can see we have all our salmon fillets here. I had these in the brine for about 14 hours. I pulled them out. I rinsed them off in cold water just to make sure there wasn't any extra sugar or salt stuck to them. I patted them dry with a paper towel, and then I got them on these wire racks. Now, what we're gonna do from here is we're just gonna leave them sitting out until the pellicle forms, and you'll know when that happens because it's almost gonna look like a clear plastic coating over these fillets, and what that's gonna do is allow the smoke to stick to these fillets and act as like a bondant for our smoke. So if you were to just leave these out here like this, it would take a few hours. You could put it in the fridge. The convection air in the fridge will help form it pretty quick. For me, I have an overhead ceiling fan above my table here, so I'm going to turn that on, and that's going to form that pellicle really quick, probably in about an hour or two. So I'm going to let the pellicle get formed, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to finish these off before we get them on the smoker, and yeah, they're going to be delicious. So we'll see you guys in a little bit. All right, guys, it's been an hour and a half. That pellicle formed up really quickly, really nicely with that overhead ceiling fan blowing on them. So off camera, I just seasoned them up with a light coating of Tailgater's Barbecue Party Rub. I really like this rub on salmon. I like it on everything, as you know by now, but it's really good on salmon because it has black pepper, and it also has a lot of savory notes to it, which is great because we're gonna be basting these fillets with maple syrup throughout the duration of the cook. So what we're gonna end up with is smoky, savory, sweet, and sticky smoked salmon. It's going to be delicious. We're going to get these out on the Pit Boss Pro Series 1600. I'm going to be running on smoke mode for the first hour. It's about 170 degrees. We want to kind of warm them up slowly. And then I have the hopper loaded up with Cookinpellets Apple Mash Pellets, and it's going to be delicious. Applewood smoked salmon. So I'm going to get these outside and loaded up, and I'll bring you back and show you what that looks like. All right, guys, I have the salmon out on the smoker here. We got it rocking on smoke mode, about 160, 170 degrees. One thing I did do is I did spray down the grates with some vegetable oil here just to prevent the skins from sticking as it smokes. So we're gonna go ahead and let this go for an hour, and then we'll check on it. We have nothing to do until then, so we'll see you guys then. Okay guys, it's been 1 hour. Here's the salmon. It's looking really good. I did rotate them just for even cooking, but you can see right here this one kind of cracked on me, which will happen if you're not careful, so just be careful with that. I did baste them with some maple syrup. You can get this at Walmart. This is just good maple syrup. It's grade A, so I would use a good maple syrup for this. I'm just gonna let these keep smoking on smoke mode here, let them do their thing, and I'm gonna come out and baste them every 20 minutes with maple syrup until they're done. I'm not gonna bring you back for all that, but I will bring you back when these are done and let you know how long it's been. So we'll see you guys when these are done. Okay guys, it's been about 2.5 hours now, and this is what the salmon's looking like. At this point here, we're just gonna start temping some of the salmon and see where it's at. We're looking for an internal temperature of 140 degrees, and then we're gonna start pulling them off one by one. So that one's pretty close there. And so I'm going to keep temping these, make sure they're not getting overcooked. Like I said, 140 degrees is the number I like. So as they temp, I'm going to pull them off and get them inside to start cooling down. So it's just kind of a process of temping them and seeing which ones are done and getting them off. And they're all not going to finish at the same time, obviously, because they're different size. So now I know a couple on the bottom here are done, so I'm going to go ahead and get those off, and then I will bring you inside when it's time for the taste test and let you know how long the entire cook was. But as you can see, it's looking really good. We got some really nice color, and yeah, so I will bring you back when it's time to do the taste test. All right guys, it's been about 3.5 hours on this cook. Our salmon's done. I have a few more pieces just finishing up out there. Now, I took these to about 140, 145 degrees internal. The brine helps keep it nice and moist, so let's give it a little bit of a taste test here. I'm just gonna break off a little chunk. Nice and moist. That is absolutely delicious. It's smoky from the apple pellets. It's got some savoriness from the Tailgater's Barbecue Party Rub. It's sweet from the maple syrup. Guys, this is my go-to recipe for smoked salmon. Give it a try. You'll really like it, and we will see you next time.